So the world is going through this turbulence with regards to the question, are we going back to normal? So what do you think? Are we going back to normal?
Well, certainly from a historical point of view, if we look at human history and all the revolutions that we've done, and everything that we actually did to revolutionize our life has been from bad state to a better state, or we've tried to do something good from a bad state, and we've never been actually able to go back to anything in life. So, as humanity evolves, what happens here is many people lack the calculation of the psychological impact of what's happening to a person. So, it's more than just an economic model of carrying on with capitalism. What we have to factor in here is the psychological influence it has on people and this new arrangement of life that's coming onto us, and how we're actually changing within with these new changes. So you can't really expect humanity to go back a state. It's never happened before. And what the main problem here is, as humanity, we don't understand that we're changing day by day. And because the majority of humanity is quite unconscious about their personal change, personal inner change, they don't understand that the me yesterday is not the same me as today. And this is simply because of the lack of conscious human development. Had we been conscious about all our development throughout history, we would immediately recognize I can't even go back to yesterday. So this lack of
Mm-hmm.
recognition it's like a two-edged knife. If you use it properly, you can cut yourself a loaf of bread. If you use it the wrong way, you'll cut your finger.
Right.
So humanity going backwards is not going to be an option simply because they've never been able to do it. Russia wanted to go back to communism after communism fell. They were unable to do it. They couldn't do it because on the one hand they were ready. They were used to getting all that bread and all that government welfare from the government, and once it collapsed, they wanted to go back, but they couldn't. So there is no going back, even back to communism, where
Let me
everything
ask you a
was
question
free.
though. There's something in there that I need clarified because I was living in Manhattan during 9/11, and after 9/11, everybody was so kind to everyone, and everybody was holding doors for everybody, and it felt like wow, it's a new world. And then like 3 weeks later, it felt like we went back.
Human nature is not going to change at the moment. Okay, so when I'm talking about a psychological impact on society, I'm definitely not talking about humanity all of a sudden changing and being nice to each other. We have to understand that this change is a process. And as you will also discover, probably as we go deeper and deeper into the economic recession in the next 2 to 3 years, when governments will try to exactly do what you're saying right now, they will want to go back. So their initial instinct is to extend capitalism as best they can, okay, to take it back as best they can. It's not going to work out. Okay, first of all, that's not going to happen. The stock exchange in just a matter of few weeks lost everything it gained in the past several years. In 1 month or even 3 weeks, it fell so sharp they lost everything that they gained in the past several years. So these things are very cumbersome stuff. We're talking about mass decrease in valuation of economy here. So going back cannot happen. Okay, this is just a point where they're trying to stretch it out as best they can because of lack of options, because they don't know where to go. What are we
They
going
don't
to
know what to
do?
do.
Exactly. So what are we going to do instead of capitalism? So you can't go back to communism because that never worked and it won't work. So if capitalism fails, then what are we going to do? So here comes a dilemma, because the governments don't know what to do. The people are changing. They're on a new psychological shift. And let's be logical about it. Who would want to go back to work after having the luxury of actually staying at home for a while? The only reason most people want to go back to work is because of lack of security. Okay, because you can't tell what's going to happen. Are they going to take my home? Are they going to take my car? Am I going to have food in the fridge? So people are not afraid of this change in society. They're afraid because of the lack of security in society. Okay, so there's this fear of future. So if you had a situation where you actually got rid of that fear of future, nobody would ever want to go back to capitalism. Who
Okay,
wants
so
to run around all day?
we need to imprint that right there. So can you repeat that again? That was
If you delete, okay, the fear of uncertainty and the fear of future from the public and tell them, listen, guys, we can have a new model of economy where you don't have to worry about starving to death. You don't have to worry about losing your house, and you don't have to worry about, being out homeless. Okay, you just stop it right there, pause it for a moment, and give some kind of security to the people that life will go on. Okay, and they don't need to have any fears about it. Nobody would want to go back to capitalism. Capitalism has been a whip on our backs for decades, and it's not serving anyone except the few elite. And the governments know about it, the people know about it. Everybody knows that every government is corrupt. Everybody knows the European Union governments is corrupt. Everybody knows that the United Nations is probably one of the most corrupt organizations on the planet. These are all well-known facts. So humanity is only trying to go back because it can't envision for itself an option, and it can't overcome this fear of what's going to happen to me. They're both right in the sense that, the fear is a righteous fear. So, what can you do if you got kids and stuff?
Shira Land is at Shira. Also, if you want to tell us where you're from, Shira is asking on Facebook, are there any economic systems that would be viable?
There is only one viable economic system for humanity, and that's mutual sharing. Now, humanity has a problem with sharing. It has enough resources on an ongoing basis to feed everyone. There is no lack of food, no lack of water, no lack of air for anyone, no lack of housing, no lack of health. There is no lack of anything on the planet. I guarantee you that. It is enough for 8 billion. It'll be enough for 50 if we have on the planet. Humanity has a problem of sharing. Instead of sharing what we have, we like to keep that stuff in the fridge and watch it go over the expiry date and chuck it in the bin. So until this change that occurs in our mentality, we're not really going to have the ability to do this the soft way, but we'll have to go through it the hard way. And that depends really on the education of everyone, including ourselves.